We got a big rumor from Joe Cowley in regards to the Minnesota Timberwolves potentially reaching out to the Chicago Bulls about a Coby White trade. Should the Chicago Bulls pull the trigger? We're going to talk about it all and more right after this. What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host there, Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content today, y'all. And this one comes from Joe Cowley. It says this: Minnesota is reportedly not looking to wait until February trade deadline to complete a deal for a guard. Wolves have asked Bulls about Coby White's availability. This one comes from Joe Cowley. And here's what I'll say, right? Am I shocked that the Minnesota Timberwolves will reach out to the Chicago Bulls in regards to Coby White? No, I'm not at all. I think when you look with the way that Anthony Edwards has grown as a playmaker and a passer last season, as well as a shooter over the last couple of years, you don't need necessarily a traditional point guard next to Anthony Edwards. So I'm not surprised that they reached out. Now, I want to be clear here. It says that they've reached out to see about his availability. That does not mean that an official offer was made. It doesn't even mean that Coby White is the top target that they have for acquiring a point guard, but it does mean that the Minnesota Timberwolves are doing their due diligence in regards to trying to find their point guard to be next to Anthony Edwards. So what do the Timberwolves have to offer the Chicago Bulls is one of the questions that we would have to ask here, right? Because it's easy to acquire about a player, but what are you willing to give up to get the player that you want? And that's where we don't know what they would offer. We don't know anything like that. I can't say. Again, Joe Cowley doesn't mention it in this article. I'm sure now that this has come out, we're going to hear over the next couple of days maybe what the Minnesota Timberwolves offered. But if I'm the Chicago Bulls, again, this is me. If I'm the Chicago Bulls, the conversation, because of what we also need, I mean, you guys can tell me if you're right or wrong. Tell me how you guys feel about it. But to me, Jaden McDaniels, Terrence Shannon Jr., Juan Behringer, one of those players has to be involved in that talk. Maybe even a Rob Dillingham, which I don't know if they'd be willing to give up, because if what the Timberwolves are offering is just Dante DiVincenzo, there's no way that I even entertain that when it comes down to it, right? So I see Vaughn saying that they have 0 first, so I don't think that this picks would be offered in this, Vaughn. Great point, great call out there. I don't think that picks are involved in this. It would have to be a young player. That's why I said Rob Dillingham, Juan Behringer, right? Those are some of the players that would have to be, if I'm the Chicago Bulls. That I doubt that they're giving up Naz Reid because they're trying to gear up for a championship run, but you would have to come off one of those. People saying TSJ, bro, is he the same age as Coby? Makes no sense. He is very old. I don't know if he's the same age as Coby, but what if it was a Juan Behringer and a TSJ, right? Something like that. They don't have Daniel Gafford. Minnesota Timberwolves, not the Dallas Mavericks there, Jerry. So there you go on that one. But so I don't know what the offer would be. And that's the thing that you have to talk about and think about this as well, is what would that offer look like if you're the Chicago Bulls? And I really don't know. I don't know. And I doubt the Bulls are going to entertain this. One, because I still think the Bulls very highly value Coby White and have plans for him. And if you are, we know that the Bulls still want to win now. The Bulls, despite what some Bulls fans want and what some Bulls fans are asking for, the Bulls have zero interest in going full rebuild. They have zero interest in it. Again, I want to be clear here before the tankers get pissed at me. In no way am I saying, do I agree or disagree? It's not even about what I think. The Bulls are not entertaining a full rebuild. So that means if they get something back for Coby White, it has to be a talented young player that maybe changes their timeline, but it has to be something a player that they look at that they can play right now. And I don't see that the Minnesota Timberwolves necessarily have that, right? What if you pair Coby with P. Will to get rid of the contract? You could do that, right? You could do that for sure. Trey Jones. See, this is the thing is that it doesn't report that they reached out about Trey. Now, Trey Jones does make a lot of sense for the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think, the one thing is a knock is he doesn't really shoot the three, but with how Anthony Edwards has grown as a shooter, maybe you're not worried about that as much, right? So that could be something in that. But I will say this. If I'm AK and Eversley, Juan Behringer or Rob Dillingham, you're not coming away without giving me one of those guys. Now, if you can get Juan Behringer here, and I know I keep saying his name different ways. I think it's Juan Behringer. I think it's French. But if you can get Juan Behringer out of the Minnesota Timberwolves, we can start entertaining the conversation. I'm not saying that that's all, right? Because it's not. Coby White is a legit 20 to 25 point per game scorer, so you got to come off a little bit more than that. But that or Rob Dillingham is just the barrier of entry to get in there. That's just my personal opinion. And like people said, maybe you're even trying to use that to then come off of Patrick Williams' contract, or maybe that's the case as well. SB, we got to do an episode, bro. It's so crazy that both of us represent Chicago and we have not done an episode together yet. Other than, I have been on your podcast once, I think, but we got to get that done. Me and Vaughn got to get our episode done first, and then after that, I'm reaching out to you to get an episode done with you. So shout out to SB in the building. Juan Dillingham, because he doesn't fit next. That's a great point. Didn't think about that. Well, here's the thing. Let me counteract that, Vaughn. Just a thought here. The Bulls' best basketball this season has come with Trey Jones next to Josh Giddey. And with the way that Josh Giddey has evolved as an off-ball scorer and shooter, maybe. I'm just saying maybe. I'm not saying that I disagree with you. I'm just offering a counterpoint. I mean, the Bulls are very willing to play Josh Giddey with Trey Jones. Maybe. Right? Because it's not like Rob Dillingham is a traditional point guard where he's bringing the ball up, that he's distributing everything. He's more of an undersized two. And I'm just saying maybe, right? I agree with you, though. It's not the most seamless fit. And if you're going to move off of Coby White, I would want a more seamless fit next to Josh Giddey. But just offering a counter point to that one. Juan and TSJ for Coby is a done deal. I mean, I can understand your point on that. I still don't know if that's quite enough, but maybe that's just me being a homer, and I can very much so admit when I'm being a homer, right? So maybe that's just my brain in that one. Bulls need a defensive center. That's why I said Juan Behringer. And maybe you just haven't seen Juan Behringer play, but Juan Behringer, a rim runner, a rim protector, and he's kind of small slider frame right now, but when you look at his frame, you can't deny that Juan Behringer could very well turn into the exact type of center that the Bulls need. He's 19 years old right now, so there's that part of it, but he was a 17th overall pick. Juan Behringer has tons of potential as a defensive center at the next level. Rim runner, shot blocker, and I think he can stretch out to about 10 to 15 feet as far as his shot as well. You'd have to work with it, but Juan Behringer could fit some of that mold there, is just what I point out there. Let me know I'm ready to lock in. SB, if you have, I can't remember if I gave you my number or not, but when we get off of this, hit me on socials. If you're on Twitter, it's CEO Hayes or Bull Central Pod. If you're not, look in the description, hit me on email, send me your number so we'll talk, because I get lost in social media. Vaughn texted me 3 days ago and I typed a response and I just forgot to press in. But also my dog died, so I've been off on that too. So like I haven't been right mentally all day long today. So there's that part of it too. Amadas, Noah, Behringer front court for the future could be. It could be now that pushes your timeline way back, which for a lot of Bulls fans maybe that doesn't matter, right? But it does push your timeline back. A future front court of Juan, Noah, and Modest is not. I'm telling you, it's not terrible. And you got to think about it this way too. Like that's all three players that can protect the rim. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to be that instantly right now. Those are a 21, 18-year-old, and a 19-year-old player, right? So those are very young players, but it does shape up to fix your rim protection. It gives you athletic bigs that can play with Josh Giddey. It does a lot potentially for your future there. A's dog, we used to see. No. So it's not the one. Loki's the one that you guys used to see. We used to see both of them. So Loki's the Akita. Loki's cool. He's the baby. Leo was my black lab who had the white spot on his chest. He was 12-ish years old. Yeah, he passed away. Unfortunately, I was walking around looking for him. He was in his favorite spot behind the couch, balled up, gone. And yeah, I'm just glad I found him rather than the kids found him, is all I'll say there, man. I've been fucked up since. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I've been real fucked up. So, but yeah. In the scouting report, they said that he may have the ability to guard one. Exactly. Yeah, so when I was doing my scouting of Juan Behringer, I'm not saying that he can be that level of player, but very Joakim Noah-ish defensively. And I'll just say, just in the sense of being able to switch. You remember how, like, Joe used to switch on the guards? And not to say that you would switch him on guards and he'd guard them for the whole possession, but he was able to stay with even the quicker guards long enough until the help defense came. Behringer has that type of potential as well. Again, I don't know if the Bulls are even entertaining this, but he does have that type of potential as well. So, can TSJ play defense? I'll say this. I don't know if he's better. I don't think he's better, but I don't think he's worse defensively than Coby either. I'll say that, right? Do you think Coby trade leads us to getting off of Vooch? I don't know. I really don't know if those two things are going to be tied together or not. I don't want to sell you a bill of goods. I don't know for sure. So, Vucevic and Williams are the main two I want gone. I wonder, do any other teams want? No. See, that's the thing. And the thing that I always say when people ask, like, hey, why is Vooch still on this team? It's like, who's going to take him? Like, legitimately, who's going to take Vooch with the way he's playing right now? Nobody. Nobody's taking Nikola Vucevic right now. So, there you go on that one. Go ahead, target picks, collect as many picks as you can. Yeah, I don't think you're getting picks in this case. I don't, because the Timberwolves have no picks to offer. So even if the Bulls do want to entertain that, they really don't have any picks to offer in that case. So I don't know if that's something that they choose to do, right? I mean, well, if they want picks, then you're not going to trade with the Minnesota Timberwolves if you want picks back, is what I'll say. My condolences for your dog. Good brother. I'm kind of late. What is the rumor trade? So no, we don't have an actual rumor of an offer. What we have is that Joe Cowley saying that the Timberwolves do not want to wait until the February trade deadline to acquire a point guard, and they have reached out to the Chicago Bulls to gauge a Coby White's availability. So that's all we have right now. We haven't heard anything of an offer. Like I said, typically when the first kind of news comes out, I wouldn't be surprised if Jake Fisher or Mark Stein or one of the guys ends up coming out with an article over the next day or so that has more details on what they could potentially be willing to offer for. And because it was just a reach out about availability, we're probably going to more so hear what the Timberwolves are willing to offer for a point guard. It may not be necessarily exactly what they would have offered for Coby, but those details are probably coming out at some point soon. Nets want picks, Vooch, and expiring contract. There's been no actual rumor to say that at all. There's been nothing to say that actually at all. So, we'll see. We'll see. But all right, y'all, I just wanted to bring that news. I appreciate you guys for sticking it out with me, man. Yeah, it's been tough. I appreciate y'all. But y'all know we have a simple rule here at Chicago Bulls Central. When news drops, we drop. Very simple. When news drops, we drop. So we'll see what happens if anything else comes out about this. If TAJ isn't worse defensively than Coby, then that makes it even more interesting. Well, you got to keep in mind, he's also about as old as Coby White. Let me see how old TSJ is. I know he was the oldest rookie in that draft. If I'm not mistaken, he was like 23 years old when Terrence Shannon Jr. is 25. Coby White just turned 26, if I'm not mistaken. So he's only a year younger than Coby, with only being in the league 2 years versus, is this year 6 for Coby White? So take that for what you will, right? Now, I think that Terrence Shannon Jr. is bigger than Coby, kind of naturally, right? I think he still has tons of scoring upside, but I don't know if he'll ever turn into Coby. But again, I could be wrong on that. We've seen older players end up turning around and say like that. Nets have already said that they're using cap space to take on contracts for the draft. Yeah, but do you – see, that's the thing, though, Lee. Getting rid of P. Will isn't worth giving up a draft pick. It's not. P. Will is not hurting your team to where you need to say, oh, we got to get rid of him so bad that we got to give up a first. That he's not hurting us that bad. That's I get it. Fans are tired of P. Will, but that's not a good use of assets. It's to send out a first round pick just to get rid of P. Will. It's not a good use of assets. Now, if it gets to a point, let's say I'm just using this for example. Let's say the Chicago Bulls are Jalen Duren's a restricted free agent. Let's say the Bulls have only $25 million that they can offer Jalen Duren. But they can get off $18 million more by trading Coby White and sending the pick. And Jalen Duren's like, yeah, I'll sign to you, just not for 25. I'll sign to you for 32. Then if the Bulls are looking at Jalen Duren and be like, well, hell, we can't get with our first round pick, we want somebody as good as Jalen, maybe then they do that. But right now, it's not worth giving off of it, in my personal opinion. It's just not worth it. But all right, y'all. Love you guys. Make sure you guys are following us at Bulls Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. BullsCentralPod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We're the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related, but that is thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, go Bulls. Love you guys. See red if you can, y'all. Peace. Wrong one. My bad.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks Media.